Welcome back to the Scorching Hot Takes podcast. I'm joined by a very special guest today. Welcome to the studio, Ian McCulloch, frontman of Echo and the Bunnymen.
Thank you for having me.
The Scouse accent needs to stop.
All right, I will do
that
it
for a full video. But do you want to tell us what we're doing, Mac?
Don't, because I will just be him the whole time, just act like nothing's different.
All right, Max.
So what we are going to do today, by the way, I know you're all really confused what's going on. It's me.
I think people probably work that out.
So we're going to be doing, and before you shoot me, this wasn't even my idea.
Oh yeah, it was my idea. We're going to be ranking Echo and the Bunnymen's top 5 albums and our top 5 songs as well. And I thought, we've done Tame Impala, my favourite artist. It's only right that we do Echo and the Bunnymen at some point. It's been a long time coming. And as much as like Max is the one that's known for loving them, I also think they're a great band. And I'll start off by saying, I think you overrate them, but I do think the general public underrate them. I do think they are an underrated band. So I want to get that out there. I am also a fan of Echo and the Bunnymen. It's not all Max, so
there you go.
I'll take some of the beating as well if people think they're... people are always like giving you a lot of slack for how much you go on about them, which, I mean, it's even worse for me. I live with them.
Yeah, valid.
But I feel like... All right, you can send your mum photos later, mate.
Sorry.
Are you present today?
Yes.
All right, you can start us off. This is your video.
Okay, are we doing songs or albums first?
We'll go albums first. I feel like that makes sense.
Okay. I have put my number 5 as the 1987 self-titled album.
Okay. Why?
I enjoy the very, it's very mid to late 80s. It's got them dancey, popish elements, but it still has that kind of Bunnymen mystery and darkness that it holds on to. It's not the same as it used to. It's 5th, and I think the next 4 are quite a bit higher. Okay. But this is still for me a great album.
What would you give it out of 10?
This is a mid to strong 8.
Okay. All right, that's respectable for the 5th placement. I thought you were going to come in with it's a strong 9. It's a strong 9.
There's so many catches like Lips Like Sugar, Bedbugs and Ballyhoo are some of the band's best songs because they're just pure pop hits, but still have so much quality. Like Bedbugs and Ballyhoo, that Les Pattinson bass, like the doom, 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 doom. It's so jazzy. That song's incredible. And the keys are so dorsey. Mm-hmm. I think maybe it's slightly too long. And I do think it's so consistent in sounds to the point where maybe you want something a little bit different at times. I feel like other Bunnymen albums, they go to so many different avenues. Whereas this one I feel like most of the songs do the same thing. So yeah, the only thing that it lacks is maybe packing a bit more range in style into an album because it is a bit longer. But yeah, I think it's really solid. There's so many hits on this, and there's still, I think it's All in My Mind that has that incredible soulish funk to it. I don't know how to describe it, but Will Sargent's guitar is so pure. It's got that weird opening chord, and then when it gets into the big crescendo, there's the doo doo, and it's it almost feels like I'm in Cars, and I don't know why it makes you think of soul stuff. It's like a soul. That's not even what I was supposed to say. Church choir instrument. You know when you see with the crazy drummers, the full bands in churches.
Yeah. Are you talking about All in Your Mind or All My Life? Which one are you talking about?
All in Mind.
All in Your Mind.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that is a standout for me as well. I really like that one. But yeah, have you got anything else to say?
No, I don't think I do. I think that's my main summary is it's a great album. There's some great songs on it. My only criticism would be it's maybe too samey and I want a bit more packed into that range.
Well, I agree with you that their self-titled is their 5th best. Mm-hmm. And I was just saying that they're a great band, but this is really not a great album. This is mid. I've given it 5 out of 10. I genuinely find this album so bland and boring. For the most part, there's highs. All in Your Mind, personal favourite of mine. That might be the best on there for me because that's kind of got the most energy and stuff, which I think is just the thing that's lacking across the whole album. Lips Like Sugar, obviously the hit from it is one of the best as well. Bedbugs and Ballyhoo, that one is very good, but I don't know. I've mentioned this a lot about even some of my favourite artists.
What about The Game, Blue Ocean? There's so many other good songs on there though.
Nah, they're bland and forgettable. But what I was going to say is Bedbugs and Ballyhoo plays a bit too close to home in terms of their influences, wearing them a bit too strongly on their sleeve for me. I don't find it to be that original, but I do still really enjoy that track. That's still definitely a highlight. My issues with it, the production, it feels really overly polished. You don't have the grit that you get on the Crocodiles.
That's fair, I agree.
And I feel like this album actually does lose their dark, like atmospheric edge of the earlier albums.
Yeah.
There doesn't feel to be that mystery that you get in their earlier catalog.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that like Ian's vocals are way like he feels like he's almost trapped. It's just he's nowhere near as eccentric on this album. He's been like restrained. It feels a lot less outgoing. It's much safer, and there's a lot less experimentation before. Obviously, you're going for a more commercial sound, but I think they sort of get caught between like being an underground post-punk band and being like a mainstream pop rock outfit, and I just think it just doesn't really like mesh well together. It all just feels very just inoffensively middle of the road. A lot of the songs are just very passable. They're not bad songs, but like they're just fine. And I have to give it like a 5 out of 10 because it genuinely just is a boring listen from front to back. The standouts, don't get me wrong, and you put them on in their own right, but this is never an album I want to listen to from front to back because it's bland.
Okay.
Don't worry, I get nicer. Yeah, like I there is definitely stronger ones. I thought you were genuinely gonna like kill me for saying that, but I do definitely think that's the weakest of the 5.
I understand the perspective. I just don't think that's that extreme. I understand that it's you've said it all anyway.
For me, a band that I compare it to that do it way better is Simple Minds. Like you go to an album like Once Upon a Time, it's just better in every element, and you still got that like commercial sort of pop rock that I'd want. But I just think that's fair. Much better.
My number 4. I didn't know if I thought maybe this one was going to be a bit higher.
Okay, I'm interested now.
Heaven Up Here is my number 4.
Okay, tell me why.
This has easily some of their best songs. Over the Wall. The title track is a massively underrated one.
Mm-hmm.
I Promise, one of the hits, incredible. All massive standouts. But this has Echo and the Bunnymen's worst song of the 80s on it. The Disease. It feels like such a waste to me.
I'll get onto that. I do think it is probably the weakest track on the album, but I actually think that I don't think it's anywhere near like their worst.
I do, quite comfortably.
It's not worse than anything on the self-titled.
You think it's better than...
worse than anything? No, sorry. There's lower lows on the self-titled for me.
I disagree, but anyway. Yeah, other than The Disease, the dark soundscapes and like jangly guitars allow Ian McCulloch's songwriting is like really just like flirting through the album on this one. It's just... I do think it kind of flows really, really well. The Disease just kind of throws me off a little bit because it's just like, where am I? I feel like maybe if I have to really nitpick, the standard is the A half is better than the B half.
I agree with that, but can I just say something? I think that's the same in every single one of the albums in this top 5. I think that the first halves of the albums are way better than the second half.
I'm half and half. To this and one more first half, or the 2 second half.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about that, but anyway, carry on.
But yeah, the thing is, even though the B half's maybe slightly weaker, the A half on this album is so strong, it's almost impossible to live up to. Like, genuinely. But like, I think maybe this is the peak of their just pure dark grit noise. I think with Porcupine, you then get more dancey and experimental. There's experimental stuff that goes in different directions. This is all just dark experimental in different ways.
Yeah.
I think you get so much good stuff on this. Over the Wall, just on its own, just makes this album so high. So maybe it just gets slight minus points for being a tiny bit inconsistent. And at this point, there's not much more to criticise other than that. Because
so what would you give it out of 10?
This is a moderate 9.
A moderate 9, okay. So yeah, quite a big jump.
Literally the only thing holding it back from being a perfect album is The Disease and the fact that every song on it isn't Over the Wall.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, yeah, Over the Wall, what a track. So that is quite hard to live up to. All right, are you ready for my number 4? Mm-hmm. Because not only will you be mad at this one, but the general like Echo and the Bunnymen fan will also be really mad because I have Ocean Rain at number 4. And
I thought you were about to say Porcupine then.
No. And I think that this is also a pretty poor album. Not pretty poor, but
there's no way.
Way too like overrated by Echo and the Bunnymen fans and yourself.
Well, Ian McCulloch says it's the best album ever made.
Well, yeah, Ian McCulloch. You're wrong.
I said that, yeah.
I genuinely think this is a 6 out of 10. I only think this is a decent album because I feel like it's just so like overly like grand and trying to be orchestral, but it's my same issue that I bring up with Romance by Fontaines all the time. A lot of those like lush string sections are actually just quite tacky to me, and I feel like the raw post-punk energy is just completely lost.
Yeah, because they're not going for that sound anymore.
No, but that's what I like.
I'm
Echo The
genuinely
Bunnymen. Yeah, I know. So I can tell you're getting a bit irate over there. But again, it's overly polished, and I don't like that from an Echo and the Bunnymen album. I like it when it's a bit gritty, mysterious, psychedelic, and this album is just like quite boring. And the thing with this one as well is there's no like urgency at any point in the album really for me. Like there's nothing that really sort of stands out and gets me going. I think The Killing Moon is one of their most overrated songs. It's a good track, but it is nowhere near.
No, I agree.
Nowhere near like their best.
And then he says that. I also said that best song ever written, and God wrote it in a dream.
Yeah, well, Ian McCulloch, he's wrong. He's wrong. Yeah. And I understand that it's meant to be slower and like a bit more moodier, but I just find it much less exciting. And I also think the pacing is quite inconsistent. So there's like in the middle section when you get to Nocturnal Me and My Kingdom, it kind of just like, I feel like it just dips in terms of like tempo, like even more. I also think Nocturnal Me is one of the weakest tracks of the 80s. I find
of the 80s. Oh my god!
Of their 80s material.
I thought you were genuinely about to say that Nocturnal Me is one of the.
You're like on the edge of your seat.
Yeah,
ready to pounce.
I don't like it.
Won't even let me finish my sentence. But yeah, and then as well, I feel like on this album in particular, and I don't know if it is because it's got that more like grand feel to it, but it's where Ian McCulloch's like lyrics feel quite pretentious to me, and like where it's just so obscure that it's just like, what am I actually listening to?
See, I
like
think
Thorn of Crowns, I get you could look at it in one vein and it's a bit funny and a bit silly, but to me, like that happens for the first listen. I'll have a joke with you about it, but when I'm sat there listening on my own and he's like just genuinely waffling, I'm like, what am I doing here?
But I don't get how it's pretentious, because in the past he's taken himself so much more seriously songwriting wise. Like even on some of my favourite ones, like I'm trying to think of a lyric off the top of my head, like I've discovered my Nietzsche and stuff like that. Like that to me is more a little bit corny than cauliflower.
Yeah, well, that's not what I'm saying. I think he's quite I don't really enjoy him as a songwriter. That's not what I go to Echo the Bunnymen for. So that's kind of a thing that like weighs down their entire catalogue for me. But
sorry guys, I'm really ill.
On this album in particular, I just find that when it is a bit slower and moodier, this is the kind of soundscape that I want a bit more like introspection, and I actually focus on the songwriting a bit more because it's not carried by that like urgent, mysterious soundscape and the tempo of their earlier albums. So I just think it just doesn't mesh well together. I don't really like his vocal style with the orchestral arrangements, and I also don't think that the other members really shine that much on this album compared to on their other work.
Will Sargent, I agree. However, Pete DeFreitas like drumming style with the brushes and some of Les Pattinson's bass. But I mean,
yeah,
the rhythm section is so consistent on Bunnymen albums.
Yes, but it's better on the earlier material for me.
Okay,
like the drumming in particular on this album, I just feel like it could just be anyone. It doesn't really feel that like unique.
Yeah, that's fair.
And same with the bass lines. They're fine, but I know what Les Pattinson's capable of.
Yeah.
And it's not really reaching them heights. So I genuinely only think this is a decent album. Which, to put into perspective, I think that Amnesiac is on the same level, and Radiohead are one of my favourite bands. So like,
but you don't like Amnesiac.
Yeah, I know, but you've got to think like still on that album, there is perfect songs. There's like the Pyramid song on there that I genuinely some of my favourite songs of all time.
There's also Pulp Revolving Doors.
Exactly, which is why I think that album's weak, but that's not what I'm saying about. I'm trying to put into perspective that even if there are some moments that I do enjoy, when I look at it as a full body of work, it's just not the Bunnymen's best, and I actually just think that it's quite overrated.
Well,
don't worry, it's all good from here now. I actually do promise we have a massive jump up for the next one. Number 3
I mean, obviously you can assume at some point I'm going to get onto Ocean Rain, so I will talk about that and give my view. However, not yet, and I thought
really,
I thought it would be my number 3.
No.
It's not. Number 3 for me is Crocodiles.
Ocean Rain is not better than Crocodiles.
Crocodiles is
Not better than Heaven Up Here either.
Crocodiles is one of the best debuts of all time.
I'm fine with that.
The songs are just ferocious, and I do agree. I think that maybe comes down to this is potentially, well, it's the beginning of peak De Freitas. This is the proper style where it's just absolutely stampeding through every song. Going Up is like the perfect turn setter. That's such a perfect intro to a perfect introduction to a discography. The track list is genuinely banger after banger. That first half is so consistently just great songs. Songs like All That Jazz and Crocodiles are like, they still have that ferocity, but have so much replay value at the same time, and they're a bit anthemic.
I agree.
And songs like Rescue is probably the best one if we're talking about anthems. That's to this day one of their best songs, and I hope that will be very good live when we see it. And Happy Death Men is just like the perfect little bonus Will Sergeant moment. So experimental, but I think it really works just having it as like a peculiar oddity on the end of the album. I really like Happy Death Men. I actually think that the second half is slightly stronger than the first, and I think I've said the other way around at some point.
See, I disagree. The first half is some of the best material on Crocodiles.
The first half has also still got some of the best material, but the second half, I think...
In particular, the first 5-track run is actually just ridiculous.
That is the first half.
Well, I know, but that's what I mean. In terms of a 5-track run, it's so good.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't actually have loads to say about this album because I don't think it's the most intricate or emotionally compelling album ever. It is just one of them albums where you stick on and it's pure freaking vibes, G.
Yeah, no, it goes hard. Yeah. I agree.
But yeah, I just think the consistency throughout, the range of having a song like Rescue that's so anthemic and then such a weird song like Happy Death Men, and just the range of different dark atmospheres, and you get so much Will Sergeant grit, and there's so many incredible, simple and effective bass lines. If you've not listened to Echo and the Bunnymen before, somehow, then I would say probably start with Crocodiles. I actually got into Echo and the Bunnymen because my dad and his friends like them, and for my birthday, my dad's friend got me Crocodiles on vinyl, and I'd never even listened to it before.
I didn't know that, actually.
It was Pete.
Nice.
Pete got me Crocodiles.
Good job, Pete.
But I only knew The Killing Moon, The Cutter, and Lips Like Sugar, and then maybe the cover of People Are Strange, just from hearing them. And then I listened to Crocodiles and I was like, I didn't know what to do with myself. I listened to it 3 times. But yeah, I do think Crocodiles maybe feels very sentimental to me as well, because it was the album that got me into it. But yeah. I'm almost a little bit sad to see it at number 3. I thought it'd be higher, but I have given it moderate to strong 9.
I was expecting the strong 9s to start coming out. I actually do agree that it would be a good point to start, because I think this is the most fundamentally post-punk album. You've got that dark, moody atmosphere, and probably the most directly punk energy on any of their albums. Because for me, like you sort of said, by the way, I also have it at 3rd. I thought I just didn't say that. I've given it a strong 8. I do think there's a massive difference between this and Ocean Rain. I think this is where we're like, this is some good stuff now. And if I was to recommend anyone to the Bunnymen, I would recommend these next 3 albums that I'm going to talk about. But yeah, Crocodile's coming in at number 3. It has that strong, distinctive atmosphere. It's dark, moody, mysterious. And I feel like this is like the sound that sets them apart from other post-punk acts, because yes, you can see the clear influence from bands like The Doors and Joy Division, but they take them influences and do something good with it. So consistent throughout. There's not a miss on here at all, and it's all consistently great with some like amazing tracks as well. But there's nothing below like an 8 out of 10 on this album. Just a little note. I understand the Doors comparisons. I do think they sound like the Doors, but it's quite interesting. And I think maybe just a bit of a coincidence. None of them were actually into the Doors. It was just a thing of that was how it ended up sounding. Will Sergeant was a massive prog rock guy. He really liked Genesis and he was really into glam rock. Good lad.
Obviously, Ian McCulloch was really into Bowie, but then also like James Brown, also really liked Talking Heads. I don't know off the top of my head what Les Pattinson and Pete De Freitas were into, but I mean, when these songs were written anyway, it was Pete DeFreitas wasn't even in the band until they recorded it, pretty much. So because it was most of these songs were written when even Les wasn't in the band yet. It was just Ian and Will over the phone playing guitars to each other. That's how the first songs were written.
Maybe it's a case of then, like, because obviously Jim Morrison was so like influential anyway, that his influence then maybe second-handedly influenced Ian. Because I feel like you do sort of get some of them like bellows do feel.
And I think it gets more so later career because then they kind of realised, oh, actually, we do sound a bit like the Doors, and they understood the comparisons, and that's maybe where you get something like a Bedbugs and Ballyhoo because they did obviously get into the Doors after.
Yeah, there's no way that song's not influenced. But yeah, I love the energetic and raw production. This is like the Bunnymen production that I want.
Yeah.
It's raw, it's stripped back, and it feels live. And I like that from a lot of punk and post-punk albums. When you do have that ferocity, like you're in a live environment with the band. So many memorable tracks on here. Songs like Rescue, Going Up, Velia's Terrace, title track, Crocodiles. Literally could name all of it.
Yeah.
But as well, there's still quite a bit of variety, but it all has this cohesive mood. And it stays consistent throughout. So even something like a Happy Death Men is probably the biggest outlier stylistically, but it still fits under this like Crocodiles like soundscape.
Yeah.
Which makes it maybe it's not the most mind-blowing album of all time, but if you are after a mood of music and you want a consistent listen from front to back with every song being a hit, this is a really, really good album to do that with. And this is one that like I would be putting in the conversation of best post-punk debuts.
Yeah.
I do think it is 100% best debut of all time, not for me personally.
Yeah.
But for post-punk albums, 100% got to be up there. 100%.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Number two.
My number two.
We're getting.
This is where I have Ocean Rain.
I think you overrated.
I maybe thought that Ocean Rain was going to be my fourth.
Yeah, it's not better than Crocodiles in Heaven up here. Why is it? I need to know your reasoning.
Instrumentally, I just fully, completely disagree with you. I think it's such a lush album in terms of instrumentally. It's done so well, and I think I just think it works so well. It is a different sound to the previous stuff, but I think it's executed perfectly. The brush strumming and all the acoustic layers and everything, it's just such a massive sound, but not in the way of like other songs, like for example Over the Wall is a massive song, but that's like a roaring kind of ferocious massive. This is like a massive big cloud.
Yeah.
It's just so rich sounding. I think it's so well produced. I think every aspect of it is all like literally flawless. I don't think there's a song on this that I think how everything sits in the mix, I think it's perfect.
I do think it is like well produced in terms of like that soundscape, but for the type of production I want from a Bunnymen album, again, it's one of them things where they just evolved in a way that I just didn't enjoy as much as their previous material.
That's fair. I suppose there isn't really much stuff that sounds like this album that I think you're really into anyway, so maybe it actually kind of makes sense of it.
Yeah, I just don't really like the strings with their style.
This is like soft ballad Bunnymen at their absolute peak. Songs like Ocean Rain is genuinely like a complete masterpiece. I want it to be the final song, like in a theatre production. That's how it makes me feel.
Yeah.
The Killing Moon and Seven Seas are still some of the best, like the band's best ever songs. I do agree. The Killing Moon I don't think it should be their biggest song, but I understand why it is at the same time because it's still got that commercial appeal.
Yeah, I understand why it is.
I think it's like perfectly encapsulating like their ability to provoke emotion just with instrumental soundscapes. Because I agree with you. Ian McCulloch is a very metaphorical, like figurative. He's like a Riddler. Like there's not much of a lot of his lyrics don't make sense, but so I feel like this is still such a moving, romantic, emotional album, and I think it's due to the soundscapes. It's the strings and it's all those layers, and and it's the brush and drums and the acoustic layers, and it wouldn't.
Would you not prefer like a different sort of frontman for this style then? Because
we have to remember that, and I think this is what it comes down to. I also like Ian McCulloch's solo stuff with stuff on Candleland like September Song, which is dramatic and theatrical and emotional, a bit like this album, maybe to even more of an extreme one, and that is one of my favourite songs of all time.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, in terms of like just like lyrically, would you not want some like beautiful storytelling cuts from, I don't know, like some of your favourite songwriters on here? I feel like that could elevate it. Like this is like, that's a glaring part of like how we like rank and view albums, is how strong is the songwriting.
Yes.
I do think there would be so many like better songwriters lyrically to have like brought this album to different heights, because I just think that a lot of the songs are just like, what am I actually like listening to lyrically? I'm just like, there's not really much to take away from this, apart from it's just a bit like obscure, and it kind of like provokes a few different thoughts, but I don't know. I agree with the soundscape.
I understand what you're saying, but I kind of almost agree with you as well. I don't go to Ian McCulloch, Bunnymen, for Ian McCulloch's songwriting. I think it's good and works with the music, but I think it's one of them things where it's not like Kendrick, where like
crazy comparison.
The instrumental is so impressive a lot of the time, and there's so much going on. But realistically, if you had to pick the most important thing for the album, it's going to be the lyrical content of what he's talking about. Well, not on every album, but like on something like a tape-ab, you want to listen to the lyrics. Obviously, the instrumentals are so important and so impressive, but if you had to pick one, the lyrics are the focus. I don't think there's a Bunnymen album where the lyrics are the focus.
Well, for me, just to bounce off that, not to go too far straight, but for something like Kendrick, I think the production and like lyrics are all like, for something like a T-pop, I think it's a perfect album.
Yeah.
So I think that they're all the elements that I could pinpoint are genuinely on the same level.
I know,
reaching
but
perfection.
my only point that I'm trying to, I'm not
someone that you like more, like Nick Drake, instrumentally is often for what you consider perfect a lot of the time, especially for that folk style. And his storytelling's amazing.
But happily just
hang
have
on.
them as poems or something.
You what?
They could happily just be poems though without the instrumental.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, to make those songs, the instrumentals are genuinely beautiful. As soon as the Nick Drake song comes on, before he's even started singing, we're like, oh, yeah, in heaven.
I know.
But let me just finish my point. So for that, you wouldn't go to that album and say, oh, well, the instrumental's nice, so I don't need to focus on the lyrics, even though like you consider him one of the best songwriters.
I know, that's not what I'm saying though. But
in this album, why does it not count?
Because it's not that it doesn't count, it's just completely different vibe-wise. This isn't the Nick Drake album.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying.
Because what I'm saying, but also I'm literally saying what you're saying as well. Better. I could ask the same thing for you. If you're about to talk about Porcupine and Heaven Up Here, you've also said that you don't go to Bunnymen for lyrics, but you're probably going to rate them quite highly purely off instrumental.
But that's why, when we'll see, I don't have them any higher, because the songwriting does let it down. One of my favourite persons is Talking Heads. I really like David Byrne's songwriting, because I do like his... I think that his obscure nature and his like weird, abstract sort of introspection is actually quite unique and moving. Whereas I think this, a lot of the time, is just gobbledygook. What a good word, by the way.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd bring it up because you definitely do like a lot of like, especially singer-songwriter music, and folk's one of your favourite genres. Mm-hmm. So I'm asking, like, why would the lyrics not matter, especially on an album?
You've completely mistaken. It's not that they don't matter at all. Because if that was the case, then I'd be like, oh, well, you don't need to be on the song. Of course it matters, but it's partly, it's a thing of, it's kind of the instrumental carries along his vocals. It's maybe more of a thing of his voice is more of an instrument, and a lot of the time, maybe it's a thing of like just saying what fits, and that's perfectly fine. That also comes under a songwriting skill. Like a lot of songwriters do that thing where they kind of mutter or murmur or whatever, and whatever words fit, they'll put there. But then there is also still some very emotionally potent stuff, and I think maybe what it is at times, yes, there is times where there is lyrics that are complete gobbledygook. I'm just going to copy it. But also, a lot of the time you actually miss out and don't realise that maybe there's some metaphors going on here that you actually just need to think about.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes it can be...
Which is why I think it's still good songwriting. It's just not...
No, and that's all I'm asking you. I'm not saying that you're wrong. It's just an opinion. But that's why I was asking you, because I think for this kind of album, it is where I would like Ocean Rain, I would like the songwriting to be a bit more impressive.
But I think it is.
That's fine. But I'm saying for me, I've explained what I would like from that album songwriting wise. I was just wondering your thoughts on it. You've given your opinion, it's fine. You need to chill out. I was just asking you.
Well, this is literally what the next bit I've written down is like previously like the dark, jangly turns perhaps made Ian McCulloch's very existential lyrics very easy to overlook. However, with these like with these instrumentals, his abstract and like avant-garde yet romantic, because there's still a lot of darkness in this album, but it's really romantic and sensitive songwriting is allowed to perfectly shine through. I think, if anything, for me, this is the best album in terms of songwriting.
I don't, because I don't think that it blends with the instrumentation as well as on the other albums. Like I think that his like abstract existential lyricism on the earlier albums match that chaotic, dark mystery that those albums bring sonically wise.
I kind of get what you mean.
I just feel like it's like lush and soothing in terms of instrumentals, but then all of a sudden you're getting cucumber, and it's just like, and I'm just like, what am I actually doing here? That's just my opinion. Because
what would you want? Would you want like straight up, like not being metaphorical? Would you want it to just be like kind of really corny love song lyrics?
No, I just think that.
What do you want?
It needs to be a bit more direct, because there's not like.
That's what I'm saying though. But how? What do you want?
Direct in terms of like focused, because they're like, it can be metaphorical. Don't get me wrong. I mean, some of the best storytelling of all time is metaphorical, but it has a structure to it.
Yeah,
I feel like I with this album like Ocean Rain, I listen to it. And I can't help but focus on the lyrics a bit just because of the sonic landscape that I'm presented. And I'm kind of just left a bit like, okay, what do I take from this? That's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I understand it with certain songs like Seven Seas. It could be about anything, but at the same time, the focus in terms of songwriting on that one, if as far as I'm aware, and obviously I'm in McCulloch, so I know, I was just going for pure vibe of having an anthemic banger. It wasn't about what it's about. It was supposed to be a bit mental and a bit weird, because the previous mystery, maybe more metaphorical lyrics, and then more added mystery with the turns of the soundscapes. Now, the instrumental is very easy to understand. It's not as confusing and peculiar. There's still mystery there, but it's much more soft and digestible. However, then just make it an absolute brain fuck with some of the lyrics. But then at the same time, you have other songs on there, like the title track, Ocean Rain, or A Killing Moon. The lyrics are so... I just don't get it. I just think you're wrong.
Yeah, well, no, I'm not disagreeing. I'm not like... sort of disregarding your opinion. I just wanted to like ask you, because for an album like Ocean Rain, for me, it's one where I would pay attention to the lyrics. Because don't get me wrong, there's a lot of music that I like as well, where lyrics aren't the focus, but that is a pure vibe thing. And that's what I'm saying. The vibe that I'm presented instrumentally on Ocean Rain, I feel like I'm meant to be paying attention to the lyrics just because the instrumentals kind of set it up that way.
Okay.
And that's just as me as a listener, but obviously that
might also be true, but even if that is true, I like the lyrics, so it doesn't take anything off.
I know, and that's fine. I'm just saying that's why it don't work for me. Anyway, should we move on?
Yeah.
What did you give it out of 10, by the way?
Strong 9.
Strong 9.
Very strong.
I can't believe you think it's better than Crocodiles in Heaven Up Here, though, because I feel like
it could be interchangeable.
Those albums are like the pinnacle of like.
Because you have to remember, like, if I had to do it in decimals, these are all probably between like a 9.6 and a 9.8. They could be 0.1 off each other.
Yeah. Fair enough.
It was those three in particular were very hard.
Yeah.
Okay, your number 2.
My number 2, I have Porcupine, and I think it's a light 9. I think this is an amazing album.
Okay.
You'll be pleased to know that we can get back on track. But this is probably like the most bold and ambitious their sound ever really got for me.
Yes, I agree.
It like pushes their style into more like atmospheric and layered territory. Mm-hmm. You've got the post-punk tension, but then you've also got these cinematic textures as well. And I love cinematic like albums. Mm-hmm. Probably in terms of emotional depth as well, it's the most introspective for me.
Interesting.
Like exploring themes of isolation and frustration with like real vulnerability and that sort of stuff. So many powerful performances on here. And if we talk about track runs, the first 4 is probably the best 4-track run on any Bunnymen album for me.
Yeah.
And all of those songs are so different from each other, but it's another thing similar to Crocodiles. They all feel like they're meant to be the part of this same macro picture of Porcupine.
Yeah.
But yeah, his vocals are dramatic and they're commanding, and Will Sargent's guitar, it is so good. It's very like inventive. He has such a distinct sound on this album, which is why I think Will Sargent is one of the most underrated guitarists. Doesn't get enough praise.
I agree.
Standout tracks: The Cutter, Back of Love, most of the album, to be honest. The only thing that maybe I actually think this album's slightly less consistent than Crocodiles, but I think there's higher highs because the outro in Blue Skies I do think is not up to par with the rest of the album.
Yeah.
I've come around on Ripeness though. We've been having a joke for weeks where I think that Max overrates Ripeness. I've done a 180 on that. I won't be able to make those jokes anymore, unfortunately. That is a very good song.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've got the distinctive production on here as well. It's like cold and like echoey.
Yeah. Part of the pun. You didn't realise you did that, did you?
Nope. And then a bit of like Eastern inspiration as well. Obviously, you've got the sitar on The Cutter, which is just like nice to see.
I don't know
if
it actually is a sitar, by the way. I can't remember exactly what it is. I think it's like, I don't remember exactly, but I think it's like
inspired by that sound.
Yeah, I think it's like whatever the instrument is. I feel like I've seen it before. It's like if a sitar and a violin had a baby. I think it's like a string instrument that's a bit more like a sitar. Anyway,
well, that's sick. All right. Well, I'll stand corrected on that. Whatever it is,
I might be
sounds
wrong.
awesome. Yeah. So, and it gives the album like a unique sonic identity. I don't think there's many albums that sound anything like Porcupine.
I agree.
At all. And the reason that I think that it's better than Crocodiles is because I do think that their sound elevated after with Heaven Up Here and Porcupine. I do think that is Bunnymen in their full form. Because as much as I really like Crocodiles for its like live and raw production and style, I do think that when it becomes a bit more cinematic and a bit more experimental, that's a bit more avant-garde and artsy. That's when it gets properly up my street. So amazing album. I don't think you actually do like overrate Porcupine. Like, I actually do think you fairly rate it. Like, as much as you will have it rated higher than me, I do think that it's a severely underrated album. Okay, so, like, that makes me happy. I don't mind it being like your favourite of all time. I think that's a good take.
My number one is Reverberation. It is Porcupine. It is my favourite album of all time. And you are right. The run of The Cutter, Back of Love, My White Devil, and Clay is absolutely mind-blowing. For me, potentially the best 4-track run of all time.
Yeah, fair.
The title track does sort of end this streak in terms of energy, because it goes on to more of like a acoustic, almost feels like a bit Latin.
Okay.
I don't know what it is. Like, it feels... Anyway. But then it kind of has that halfway point where it comes back in and you've got that ferocity and that Will Sargent guitar comes through in your left ear. I know it so well. And then you kind of back on and the streak starts again, because then it's maintained throughout with songs like Ripeness, Heads Will Roll, Gods Will Be Gods, some of the best songs ever made for me, some of my favourite songs of all time. It's mysterious, it's gothic, but at the same time, it's so danceable and funky. Like we do find when we're having our kitchen discos, you get a lot of Porcupine songs
especially
coming on.
Like The Cutter is on all the time.
Ripeness needs to start coming on now, because
that's fine. I owe you one.
That makes you want to throw it in a circle. And I've literally got the same thing down. There is not another album ever made that sounds like Porcupine, but at the same time, it doesn't stick to one unique sound. Every song's different. Each track branches out to different elements of post-punk, to the point where there is songs on here where you listen to them, it's like, is this even classed as post-punk anymore?
I don't think it can.
I've said before, it goes to every corner of post-punk and leaves gold there.
Nice.
Just quoted myself, because I'm a narcissist. This is just a perfect album full of perfect songs, and for me, it's absolutely a 10 out of 10, my favourite album ever made.
We had a conversation before about In Bluer Skies being like a weak track. Do you think that's still a perfect song then?
I think it's the equivalent of a Happy Death Men.
Yeah, a bit of like
because
an outlier,
it's a bit weird. And you know what it is? It's one of them where I will admit it's not my favourite on there, but I don't think objectively it's worse than any of the other songs.
Yeah, okay.
I think the cowbell's really peculiar, and maybe it's what it's. There has been other songs on here in the past where I also haven't got into them as easy before. I didn't. When the first time I ever listened to this, I don't think I liked Clear that much.
Oh, no way.
I know.
That's crazy.
But like, it's one of them things. Maybe it will one day be my favourite on there. But I'd say probably. It probably is my least favourite song on there. But I don't think it's objectively any worse. I think it's just a vibe thing. I never really want to listen to it. Like,
okay.
Individually, what I mean. Like,
yeah,
the other song, every other song on the album I listen to individually, I only ever listen to in Bluer Skies in the context of the album.
Yep.
And I think that's maybe where it works best as well, because like you've gone on this ridiculous journey and then you just get like a peculiar little sweet at the end.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. It is similar to like a Happy Death Man. I think that's a good comparison. So, we actually have quite a big contrast here because I think that Heaven Up Here is their best.
Yeah, but at the same time, I completely get that. And I could maybe think that one day because I probably give Heaven Up Here like a 9.6.
Yeah, fair enough. But I think this and Porcupine are kind of interchangeable as my number one because I actually think Crocodiles is their most consistent but doesn't have enough of the highest highs.
Yeah. I think maybe it's just limited sound-wise.
Diverse as much.
Yeah.
Because I do agree that The Disease is also a weaker song, but I still think it's a great track.
Yeah.
And I actually think it's one of their better, slower experimental songs.
I still think it's an okay song.
But yeah, for me, it's just slightly better. I've given it a light 9 as well. Mm-hmm. For me, this is like Will Sargent's best guitar work on any of their albums. He's got shimmering textures, is what I wrote down. And sharp riffs, but atmospheric effects that like define the album's moody tone. Mm-hmm. Again, this is another album that just feels so quintessentially Bunnymen. Yeah. Like this couldn't be made by anyone else. You've got them all working at their peaks, and I think this is the best that the rhythm section is on any of the albums. I think that the drumming is absolutely sublime.
Yeah, agreed.
And the bass lines on here are probably the most consistent.
I think I actually agree. I think Heaven Up Here is the best drumming album of Bunnymen's. But I think Porcupine's got the best bass lines. And I think Porcupine's also Will Sargent's best album.
Yeah. See, I do think it's close, but I just think it shines here. And I feel like if I wanted to go to a Bunnymen album because of like a mood, it would be this one. That's kind of the way I've just edged it above Porcupine. Is I just think that this is literally as good as they get.
Yeah. Neither of us have mentioned All My Colours Zimbo yet.
Yeah, All My
Colours. That's like a massive fan favourite as well. That's
well, I do think for good reason. For me, that's one of the ones that it's an outlier from their usual sound, which I often think are some of their weak tracks. I do think they mastered the formula, but anything other than that, which is why I probably don't like Ocean Rain as much, as well as the self-titled album. I think that when they sort of strayed away from their like quintessential post-punky sound, I think that leads to a lot of their weak tracks. But All My Colours,
it's almost tribal. In a way.
Yeah, it has almost like a Bowie Berlin era feel to it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Actually,
yeah. And I'm a massive fan of Bowie's Berlin era, so that's right up my street. But yeah, I also think that emotionally, this album does feel like a bit more like honest. I do like Ian McCulloch's songwriting on this. And just to compare it to Crocodiles in terms of chronological growth, they have definitely like evolved. And it actually is like quite a lot of artistic growth in just the space of a year. Like this album in terms of production and just like sonically, it just feels so much more like grand and like an actual like full complete Bunnymen album. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
I kind of know what you mean, because Crocodiles feels like a debut.
Yeah, and that's quite why I like it.
This feels like a fourth album.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
This feels like, because you know what it is? I think it's so barbaric and in your face at times. It's like, how do you have the balls to release this?
Yeah, fair. I think this has the highest highs on as well. Over the Walls, Heaven Up Here, the title track, A Promise, and their most underrated song, I think, is on here. It Was a Pleasure is their most underrated song for me, because I like the more fuzzy, distorted vocal mix. And then when he comes in with his backing vocals, it is so good. Yeah. I think that's the most underrated song by absolute miles.
There is a lot of underrated. There is a lot of underrated ones. I really like With a Hip.
Yeah.
some of the bass lines on this are just dum, dum, dum.
What's your opinion on that though? Because that's not a style that I'm aware of that he tapped into like vocally in terms of the mix. Because with that, distortion.
It is a very different. It's almost like a walkie-talkie sound to it. It's not my favourite on the album, but it's grown on me over time. I think at first it probably would have been my second least favourite after The Disease.
Really? Wow.
But it's probably about mid-table now. I do think it's a great song.
Yeah, for me,
it's just peculiar though because I do like as much as they have such a gritty sound, I like Ian McCulloch to sound smooth and like a angelic demon over the top of every song. Whereas like, I don't think I'd like him if he did gritty vocals. Like if he was like shouting and doing like a, but I probably wouldn't like that.
Yeah, okay. I just think that the backing vocals and the distorted lead vocals contrast each other so well, and you do get that like haunting bellow that when it comes with no discussions.
It feels a bit like a Talking Heads song. I think that's probably why.
Maybe. Maybe. But
anyone who's got a song that sounds like Talking Heads, it's probably going to be.
I don't know. I wouldn't say it sounds like Talking Heads. It feels like a Bunnymen song and a new style that I wish they kind of like tried out a bit more. But
fair.
That's all I have to say. I think that is their strongest. I think fourth's a little bit harsh, Ian.
It might be. It might be.
Should we get into our top 5 songs?
This is my kingdom.
This was really hard, to be fair.
This was really hard.
Because for their best material on their albums, it's all very consistent.
Yeah.
Like my top 3 were battling it out here.
Do you want to go first this time?
Oh, I can do. Number 5, just been speaking about it, but we're going for the song Heaven Up Here.
Yeah. That was
one of the catchiest vocal lines of Ian McCulloch's career is We Can't Afford the Beer. That is always like, if I listen to this song once, that is in my head for the rest of the week.
We can't afford the beer.
But this one is just a tempo thing.
Yeah.
This is such a good running song.
This is the drumming.
Yeah. The drumming is absolutely relentless. The bass line's insane. And then you get to this crazy, quite actually experimental, like noisy section in the middle that's just ridiculous.
It's a
100% a top 5 song for me.
Yeah. Oh, just any song, any Bunnymen song that's fast, has jangly guitar, and Ian McCulloch's wailing like a dying dog. Perfect.
That's the thing as well on this. His vocal performance is so
crazy.
Unhinged.
Yeah.
He's just genuinely like off his head.
Just goes,
he's just screaming.
My number 5, again, it just keeps, I just can't help it. Ripeness is my number 5.
Okay, fair enough.
Just genuinely, it's so jangly and dancey, it's like completely infectious. The rhythm's almost got like a proper disco style to it. And then the section works like with the Will Sergeant's like ferocious, like rapid strumming, and Ian McCulloch's just flirting over the top. Works so well. His like falsetto vocals is just like belting over the jangly solo, and it's like one of the band's best ever moments for me.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
Okay, for me, at number 4, we're staying with Porcupine. I'm going Back of Love. This is probably their best chorus. Could be their best chorus.
And it's a dum, dum, dum underneath it.
As soon as this song starts, it almost like you don't really know what to expect. It could have gone so many directions when you just get that little beeping like, like. But as soon as obviously
it's
now
almost like
massively
sped up reggae. It's looks like a weird riff.
Yeah, it is very, very strange, but that's why I like it. And the fact that it just drives the entire song gives it this like juttering but dancing sort of
because it's got melody. That off-tempo open hat as well, which just makes it perfect. That's what I'm saying. It's the disco vibes that are on some of the Porcupine songs are so good. One thing that I always think about when people bring up Back of Love, and I still to this day have no idea how it would have gone. You know when Nirvana did the MTV Unplugged? Yeah. They were going to do Back of Love instead of The Man Who Sold the World.
That would have been very interesting.
How would that even have gone?
I don't think they could have pulled it off,
Because Will Sergeant taught Courtney Love how to play guitar.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a fun fact for you. Anyway,
but yeah, Back of Love is just insane part of what you would consider one of the best track runs of all time. So
I think, Kurt Cobain had that list of his favourite albums of all time. I think Porcupine was in. I think it might have been his favourite.
Fair enough.
Okay, my number... Oh, no, they said number 3 then. It's number 4.
Mm-hmm.
Crocodiles.
Yep, okay.
This is absolute post-punk perfection. It's ferocious. It's dark. However, you're already getting that theatrical element that's going to grow as the albums go along. It feels like if Dracula joined a punk band and just made it all really weird.
Yeah.
It seems simple, but it's so effective. And instrumentally, it is really simple, but the way the songs piece together and just every individual member's performance is an absolute masterclass.
Yep.
It's Ian McCulloch's just turned into Jim Morrison. Les Pattinson's got this such a simple bass line. Peter Fraser's drumming, again, so simple, but he's just genuinely beating the shit out of the drums.
Yeah.
And Will Sergeant, the entire song is just built around the same chord. I think it's like A minor. That's just the same thing, just built around. It's just... it's just...
Will Sergeant steals the show on that song, for sure. That guitar is
but it's
potentially
so
his
simple.
like, best
It's
guitar.
so
moment.
simple.
But it's simple but effective, and sometimes the best songs of all time are...
That
simple.
is in terms of post-punk, the definition of simple but effective.
Yeah.
Your number 3.
Well, I've just been talking about it. It was a pleasure. It's a top 5 Bunnymen song for me. I've just kind of spoke about it, so I won't go on for too long. But that vocal style with the distorted mix, and then when he comes in with the no discussions in the background, it just works insane. It's so catchy. And I love the way it builds because you kind of get the first chorus without the backing vocals. So they just hit even harder when they do come in. And I really like his like melody, like on the verses and stuff as well. Like very eccentric and unhinged on this song as well, similar to on Heaven Up Here, as I was just speaking about. Like it just the way he's like using his voice in such a weird way. Maybe this one I could see. I do know what you mean about the Talking Heads comparison, actually, especially in terms of like the weird vocal melodies.
I just feel like David Byrne would do that. Like if he was given this beat in the studio, this is what he would have done.
I do know what you mean.
And it also makes sense because they're massively Talking Heads influenced.
Yeah. Fair enough. But yeah, this is 100% their most underrated song. Like I mean, I don't really see many people talk about Bunnymen in depth anyway, because they're an underrated band. But this song, I think you underrate it. So good.
Probably. My number 3, Ocean Rain, the title track.
Oh, no.
One of the most emotionally potent and like it just completely like visual, it paints a picture ballads ever written for me. Every time I listen to this, I'm just transported into my own little world. I'm just on a small dinghy, just drifting on a really dark sea and thinking about things. The lyrics in true Ian McCulloch style are very metaphorical, and it leads to like such a lush landscape, such a lush soundscape with language that you can interpret to mean whatever you feel, which is again why I like the more figurative songwriting style he has at times. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter what he's actually singing about for me. This is like I wrote this knowing what we were going to have talked about today. It doesn't matter what he's actually singing about, what it makes you think of. It's brooding, it's glorious, and like I said before, it feels like a song that could be the final climax in a musical. I just think it's complete and utter true musical genius.
Yeah, fair.
Your number 3?
No, it's my number 2.
It is your number 2.
Silver Medal goes to Crocodiles. I think it's the best song on that album.
Okay.
And literally echo, pun intended that time, everything you said about it. I think it is it's so straightforward, no messing, but there's not a second of it that I change.
Yeah.
It's just a perfect post-punk song.
Yeah.
Will Sargent's guitar, I mean, from the get-go, is just absolutely ridiculous. The drumming, insane, great bass line, and then Ian McCulloch, he's just doing exactly what I want him to do in like Bunnymen post-punk.
And this is another unhinged performance, especially the live version where it goes like, it does the do 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 do, and he goes, oh!
But that's what I want, and you don't get that in their later material as much, especially on their self-titled. It's too restrained.
Yeah, I do get it.
Yeah,
my number 2 is Over the Wall. Now, this could have been almost number 1.
If we were including the live version,
well, this is the thing.
Would it?
If the live version, if you could put live songs in their best songs of all time, the live version of Over the Wall is their best song. Specifically, the one on Shine So Hard.
I also might agree with you there, by the way.
Good. Because, you know what? I'm sorry. This is really just as good as it gets. That deep, growling synth melody is so addictive. I could genuinely just listen to all day. I want it to be a whole new alarm.
Oh, by the way, Over the Wall is genuine, like, of a piece of music is something that makes me think of you more than anything else. Like, I feel like your theme tune
That could be our
Wall.
wedding song. Oh, that's so fire. So the deep growling synth melody is so addictive, the building rhythm, and then the eventual climax, that I can't sleep at night section where Will Sargent's guitar comes in roaring and Pete DeFreitas just starts pretending that the hi-hat, his entire drum kit is a boxing bag. It just becomes like an absolute stampede, and it's just life-changing. The only thing that makes it number 2, like I said, is that the live version is just slightly more elevated. The faster pace and the more weird experimental guitar work from Will Sargent just slightly makes it better than perfect. Because Over the Wall is a perfect song, but the live version is just genuinely probably the best song ever made.
Do you know, I completely agree with you, and it's why Over the Wall was a massive honourable mention for me. It didn't quite make my top 5.
Oh my God, wow.
It didn't make my top 5. Live version, I do think is probably their best song.
Yeah.
But the increased tempo genuinely makes a world of difference for me. Like, and I also do think that more like live mix, obviously, with it being live, it does give it a bit more like grit. And I can't listen to the studio version without like wanting a bit more.
I know.
So that's the thing. The studio version, I had to just take it out of my top 5, but it is still an amazing song. It's just one of them ones where like you put it on and you're like, well, I know this can be better.
Yeah, because it's you know what it is? It's when it does the over the wall and you get the... I'm like, please go faster, please.
Yeah, it's like walking. And I need it to run.
Right.
It's my number 1.
Your number 1.
I've said this before, and I do think it's The Cutter. I think it deserves to be one of their biggest hits, and it's their best intro, it's their best song. It's got more of a proper, like, dancey, like, new wave spirit to it. Another amazing chorus, so simple but effective. This is one that we literally walk around and for no reason we'll just go, The Cutter! Yeah. Like, for no reason.
Who's on the 7th floor? Bam! Bam!
Yeah, I mean, there's not, again, it's one of them ones, there's not a moment of this song that I would change. And in the second half, it gets a bit weird again, but then it ties it all back round together very nicely. Mm-hmm. It's just genuinely an anthemic, dancey banger that's great for like a kitchen disco. This would genuinely, if it was even bigger, if it was like Blue Monday status, would genuinely be like just as good of a party song. Yeah,
I agree. However, it didn't quite make my top 5.
What's your number 1? I actually don't know what this is. Wait, shall I have a guess?
I've said before, this is my favourite Bunnymen song, and it still is.
Oh, damn.
Gods Will Be Gods.
Oh, yes, I did know that. Okay.
For me, I'm not even joking, this might be every single member of the band's best performance all on the same song.
Okay.
Les Pattinson just brings us in with that classic but simple and effective bass. Like such. Obviously, Pete DeFreitas then just comes in again. He's just punching his drum kit like there's no. He could have just gone, but he's going. He's like rolling across the drums with his teeth. Ian McCulloch is just singing like a dark angel. The rhythm builds and builds and builds into a sound so unique that only these 4 could ever have made this song.
I can agree there.
It's the best song from the best album ever made. Therefore, it's potentially the best song ever made. Ever. I almost don't know what to say about it other than it's just genuinely perfect in every way. The world it creates, the way it completely infects your whole body and takes over your perception. It's just a complete whirlwind of dark, dancey, trance-like mystery, and it will just genuinely never get old. This is one of the few songs that I could listen to 5 times a day and not be like, oh, skip. I've never skipped this in my life, ever.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
It's the structural thing of the way it builds. I feel like this would have been a great opener, but I don't think. I don't know that. I mean, if we go base it on Porcupine, The Cutter is just no. I mean live. I mean live.
Oh yeah,
live. Okay. I think this would be a good one to open to.
They have quite the way it builds, really, and then good for that, though, don't they?
The big final crescendo at the end is literally just my favourite moment in music ever. Everything about this song, the rhythm section is obviously just like that's the thing that gets you in the trance with Bunnymen. It's the rhythm section, because it's not like with a lot of other bands where it's like the melodies and the soundscapes where it's like almost psychedelic and everything. Somehow, they're so repetitive.
I think it's hypnotic.
The rhythms become psychedelic, which is a really hard thing to do.
Yeah.
And then Will Sergeant is just the worst trip sitter ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then lyrical content on this song as well. It's so peculiar and metaphorical. I don't know what it means, and that's why I love it so much.
Yeah, valid. I think that's what our main probably disagreement was, just in terms of the songwriting on Ocean Rain. I would say, like, there's nothing wrong with obscure metaphorical writing. What it was for me is I don't think that it meshed well. I don't think the contrast in terms of the soundscape and Ian's weird vocals and lyricism worked as well on the album. But
I'll forgive you because you like everything else.
But on the first 3 albums, that is literally all I'd want. Then they're the ones where I don't want to be sat there like deep in it, like with my pen and paper out, like
you want the really, really weird lyrics that could mean anything, and you can choose what they mean, I guess, to an extent.
Exactly.
And also it's the thing of the lyrics work so well with the vibe. That's what's so perfect about it.
That's why I think that the first 3 are like their best material, and I think after that they dropped off a cliff for me. Like, well, not off a cliff, because Ocean Rain is a decent album, like 6 out of 10, it's fine. But I do think there's a massive step down for me personally.
And
I just, their self-titled, I just genuinely don't think it's like all that to scream and shout about. Yeah. And then after that, it's kept going downhill. Reverberation.
I will agree.
It's genuinely a bad album.
I agree.
Okay, good.
No, I'm not even terrible. I can't listen to it.
Because what happens with vocals? They're just like not the same.
Because it's not him.
Wait, what, is it not?
That was when he left the band for a year. No, well, he left the band.
God, I didn't even know that.
I can't remember his name. Do you remember when we did the quiz with Senor Pink, and it was who was the replacement frontman? I've forgotten his name again.
Why he sounds so different.
Yeah,
I was
it's not him
for this, and I was like, "This is so shit." I'm not even doing any research on it because
that was when he left the band to do the solo career with Candleland. And then they came back.
Well, that makes so much.
Then they came back and reunited to do
Evergreen, is it?
Evergreen and What Are You Gonna Do With Your Life? Which, when you've got the songs like Rust and Nothing Lasts Forever, which are, I mean, they're kind of Britpop albums in a way. They're some of my favourite Britpop songs. I don't like Bunnymen in that era anywhere near as much as early 80s.
Nothing Lasts Forever's...
Nothing Lasts Forever. Top 30 Bunnymen songs, I reckon.
Oh, no, I genuinely put it in like top 15, I think.
Oh, really?
I think that's probably their best, sing-along song.
And then after that, everything, all their other albums feel like the same kind of thing with the 87 self-titled album, but just worse. They're just uninteresting.
Yeah.
And then The Sun, the Moon and the Stars, or whatever it's called, makes me hate Echo and the Bunnymen. And a couple of years ago, they redid loads of their best songs. The fact that Ian McCulloch ruined his own song is what... please, if you're watching, please give them a chance first and listen to the first 4 or 5 albums and just realise that they are the best band of all time, but then ruin that opinion by listening to The Sun, the Moon and the Stars, the redo of Ocean Rain, Ian McCulloch's final big crescendo note. It's like he's got an egg in his throat. He sounds like an absolute twat.
Yeah. No good. I'm not joking. I have a bit of a hot take, obviously, to live up to the name here. I don't think The Killing Moon is top 25 Bunnymen, or even top 30, to be fair.
It was in my top 15, and I think it was probably about 15.
I genuinely don't. It's not better than like any of the songs. When I say any, the ones I've pointed out as weaknesses, like The Disease and In Bluer Skies, obviously aren't included. But every other song on Porcupine, Heaven Up Here, and Crocodiles is better than that song. Yeah, I genuinely think it's so overrated. It's good, but it's not. It's genuinely like a 7 out of 10 song for me.
It's not a perfect song, but it's amazing for me.
Yeah, and I feel like that's one of them ones that if you were actually a fan of them at the time, it will be like, it'll have a special place in your heart as well, because obviously it's like their big moment, and you'll probably have a lot of like fond memories of it, like being out and about and stuff. But for me, just viewing it obviously as a 19-year-old now, I and having listened to a lot of music as well as their other stuff, it genuinely doesn't wow me as a song. And it does. I understand why it can be one of their biggest because it has that commercial sort of feel to it. But I genuinely don't think it warrants the praise that it gets amongst the rest of their discography.
Yeah.
I do think it's quite
I kind of get it. That was, and especially at the time, as far as I'm aware, for Bunnymen fans who were like going along the journey and everything, that was a very divisive album because it was either then people were like, oh, I really like this because maybe it was so on the come up, Echo and the like very early 80s, U2, Simple Minds, and Echo and the Bunnymen were the biggest 3 bands in England, and they were all kind of competing at the time and everything. You're looking at me like you don't believe me.
Yeah, the biggest. Surely New Order are bigger.
No, because they were actually, in the first couple of years, they weren't huge, because Joy Division weren't even huge at the time.
I was just looking at other British bands in
post-punk, but U2, Simple Minds, and Echo and the Bunnymen were like a trio of arch nemesis. Like, they were competing together. Because Bunnymen were massive. I know they're so, like, seen as underrated and maybe a bit underground now, but at the time, they were just as big as U2 and Simple Minds. And had
as big as U2
at the early 80s, yes.
Yeah, genuinely. U2 then went another level.
Yes, well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
U2 and Simple Minds both ended up getting to arena rock level. U2 in a terrible way, Simple Minds in a good way. Bunnymen lost it after Ocean Rain. But and what I'm saying is, Ocean Rain was a divisive album. People either like, I don't like this new sound, or like, I really like this new sound. But then they got kind of let down after that, and then it disappeared. So that's why I think people hold on to Ocean Rain so dearly, because they would have got to that point and been like, oh my God, this is my favourite yet. And then the drop off. So then they hold that certain, because that's like their peak of favourite band, favourite music. So I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. I think that Ocean Rain is overrated, and I think that The Killer Moon is nowhere near the best song.
But yeah. I'll show you some stuff later on, like how big Bunnymen were. And
no, I do believe you.
I
do believe you. But I think that if you look at the longevity that a lot of other post-punk bands have, you look at Joy Division, I mean, like, when we discuss Joy Division, our views is like crazy, but like you don't get that same sort of like
almost. It's almost like the Ian Curtis martyrdom that makes them so big.
Yeah,
because they really weren't that big at the time.
I know, that's what I mean.
They did some Europe touring, and they were about to go on their first US tour before he killed himself. So like, not even having been to doing a gig in America yet, that's how small. Like, English Teacher have done a tour in America.
Different times though.
I know, but still.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. But that's what I mean. In terms of longevity, Echo and the Bunnymen are 100% underrated thing as well. Yeah, 100% underrated. I massively agree. You just never, other than us, you never hear about them.
Yeah.
Like, who else is talking about Echo and the Bunnymen? No one. But yeah, I've kind of said everything I wanted to say. Have you enjoyed your full hour and a bit dedicated to the Bunnymen?
I have, yeah.
Yeah,
thank you.
We like to have a breather now.
Thank you for having me, guys. I've been Ian McCulloch.
Hope you've made it to the end.
And my hair's nowhere near as good as it was at the beginning. Unfortunately, I can see it in the camera.
If it was ever good.
Hey. Still me in here. Do you want to end the video?
Yeah.
I'm starving, by the way.
That's so poor. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you soon. Subscribe, like, comment your favourite Bunnymen songs and albums. We'll see you next time.
This is my kingdom.